Well, we've shown in previous movies that there are a number of ways to label symbols that represent individual species in your landscape design work. In this case, the labelling is done for, say, the Blackfoot daisy. If I click on the symbol, see over here in the properties box, the Blackfoot daisy is tagged, and it's tagged to a plant database file. It's a simple text file, and we just select the symbol and tag it to whichever is appropriate. Let me cancel from there. So that's one method of doing it. But we also have and by the way, that's done with gCADPlus and use the Smart Label tool. But there's also a tool for applying a code to the center of all selected symbols. And that just entails putting a box around the area that you want to label the symbols and then just running it. And here's the result. It puts everything on a layer called Auto Label, and in goes the code. The tool has taken the code from the plant database file and put it in the center of each and every symbol. That's a very quick way, of course, of labeling everything in the drawing. But it can get a little cluttered, and there's a third way of labeling groups and zones of plants. And let me demonstrate. I have the existing plant schedule showing down here, and what I'm going to do is run it again. We'll include the symbol, botanical name and common name and code, but we'll also add a series of red dots, little symbols that we can use to drag across and place near and on top of any group of similar species, because you're often doing mass planting. So for that, we go to Plant Schedule and we run a custom content one. Now I need to look carefully down the bottom of the screen in the command area where I get feedback from gCADPlus to me, and do I want to include the plant symbol? Yes, I do. Whoops. I need to say Y for yes. Include the red circle markers, will say yes. The type, is it tall tree, small tree, shrub or whatever, we'll say no. Include the code, yes, we want the code. We don't need the pot size because I know the database file doesn't have that information in it yet. We want the botanical name, yes, and the common name. Do we want to put one under the other? Well, no, we'll just put them in separate columns. And for our text height, we use 0.4. This is a USA example. And we're then asked for a corner point. Let me just zoom out a little. So this plant schedule is going to be redrawn. So we'll go over pretty much the same area, maybe a little wider to take account of that red dot symbol that's going to go in. And here it is. And if I zoom in on it, can you see that each dot has a code in it? So the code that will correspond to Colocasia Black Magic, the black elephant seers, will be a red dot with a 2 in it, and the one that will correspond to Falcatum, that's a holly fern. It's not one I'm familiar with. So those codes can be dragged into position. So if we explode this now, that's just a block. We can get at our symbols. So these symbols through here, the Blackfoot daisy is there, and if I pick that's Melampodium, so if we come down here and find Melampodium, here it is, we can now take that symbol and copy it from, say, there and pop it directly on top of a group of similar plants. So it sits in there, and I'll finish there. It's a block, but the block, the number is put separately over the top of the block, so I just need to grab the number. I think I've got it. That's a little difficult to do, I'll see if I can move the red dot to the back. Now, of course, it's gone under this symbol, so I've made it tricky for myself. So let's see if we can pick it. We can hold our shift key down now, get rid of that text and get rid of that. Now we've got the two we want. I'm actually going to move it here and pop it there, and I inadvertently moved this particular thing. It would now be a good idea, wouldn't it, to go to here and just turn off the auto label and even the smart label layers and clean things up. So now we can move that symbol. We could scale it by a factor of roughly 2, and then we could move it into position. So it's now whoops, it's gone behind that one. So let me move there, tools, and send to the back. Now we can at least see it, but we have to pick this one and move it to the back. We finally achieved what we want, but I think we need to be a little careful in how we go about it. So let's just see if we can do a little better now. That's the Society Garlic Bulbagia. So let's come back down through here. PQRS. Here we are. And there's our symbol. I'd be inclined to, and that has number 17 in it. I'd be inclined to make a block of that. It is a block. Is the text? Okay, the text is part of it, so we can just select it and scale it like so, and then copy from that point there, and we can zoom out and find that area again. So we could pop it down like so. So it's a different approach. I think once you get more experienced at it than I am, you could be stamping your red dots wherever you like in the drawing, and you end up with quite a nice, clear presentation. So it's a third alternative way of generating and labelling plant names. So I got into my trouble through here by assuming that the number 12 was not part of the original block, and of course it is. So I didn't need to go through all of that shuffling of sort order. So I hope that helps.